Welcome to this week's video tutorial for week 8 of the 2019 Season 3 IMSA Sports Car Championship here on iRacing. This week we're driving at Road America in the Ford GT 2017 with our time of day settings set to August the 3rd, 2019 at 2:25 PM. Our weather settings are also set to 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 26.67 degrees Celsius air temperature in default conditions with the skies set to clear. Looking at these boards on the right hand side, we'll go past the 5, the 4, and we'll begin to brake at the 3. Up to our peak pressure here of roughly 65%. Something I could have done better here is I probably could have broke just a fraction later and actually reached my peak pressure sooner. You can see here that I reached 60% here, and then I come off the brake pedal a little bit, and then I increase it once again. So I could have broke a fraction later and went straight to that 65% and tried to hold that as constant as I could, but there's always room for improvement. So we are holding this curb on the outside as we prepare ourselves for the entry into turn 5. Obviously again, trying that brake into the apex, but we're actually coming off the brake pedal from that 65% region down to approximately 25% quite quickly, but then trailing that low percentage into the corner, and that's because we're actually increasing the steering angle a little bit quicker than normal. So what we're doing here is getting down to that low percentage so we don't risk locking that brake, but also obviously the more steering angle you put in the car, the lower brake pressure you need to use. So that's why we're doing this into the corner, mainly because of the steering angle, and also obviously again much like the previous corners to give ourselves that mid corner front grip. Putting the car to the inside curb here, being mindful to not dip on the inside of the curb. It's quite bumpy there. The car dips in to the curb and then bounces on its way out. Can just cost you a little bit of mid corner speed. It does give you more mid corner grip, but your mid to exit traction is greatly affected due to the car bouncing around a little bit. Quite aggressive on the throttle here initially, then a little bit more progressive as we go from roughly 75% to 100. But here we are using up all of this curb on the outside. It's important to do that. Stay on it all the way until the end, pulling the car back onto the road. Now this is a challenging corner because, as you can see, it's blind. We're basically staring at a Corvette sign and the sky, so it's a little bit challenging in order to get your brake marker, which normally I like to begin braking just after the start of this red radical sign on the right hand side here. Quite a light application in the brake pressure here. Reason for that is we're not washing off as much speed as say we would be into braking at the end of the second straight, but also what we're trying to do here, because we're coming over the crest, we can't brake particularly hard, otherwise the car could, obviously it's loading the front up quite a lot as you go over the crest, which is going to unload the rear and leave you with a little bit less rear grip. So what we're actually trying to do here, brake a little bit lighter and then continue to trail that into the corner, maybe coming off a little bit more gentle than what you normally would, just to really try and keep the balance in the car there. But we'll begin to turn in just before we get under this bridge, just as we get on the bridge, sorry, trailing off that brake, again nice and gentle, searching for the inside curb here. Trying to apex quite early though here initially, because we do want to run, or we can run quite wide on corner exits, so you can see we're still trailing this brake. Picking up the throttle at the apex here, which is pretty close to the end of the curb. Letting the car drift out nice and wide, using up all the concrete here before pulling the car back onto the road and getting over the left hand side as quickly as you can, because we do need to be over here in order to get the optimal line